Picture this and let me tell you why it matters in October of 2025. A late night knock, a lamp wrapped in cloth so the light won't show from the window, and a whisper that says, "It's time." It was October 1943 in Denmark. The Nazis had occupied the country for more than 3 years. The Danish government had just collapsed under pressure, and the order was set: begin mass arrests of Danish Jews on the night of October 1st. There was fear, real fear. Fear of arrest, of being watched, of losing everything. But something else happened too. A German diplomat named George Duckwitz leaked the plan. Synagogues spread the word. Clergy read a letter from the pulpit declaring persecution a moral disgrace, and doctors rewrote hospital records to hide families as patients. Fishermen in small boats prepared to cross the water, and on the other side of that water, Sweden had just announced it would offer sanctuary. No one waited for instructions, no one asked for guarantees, they simply acted. Because when the law turns against your neighbor, you're left with your hands. And the question becomes, what will you do with them? At the time, Denmark was under foreign occupation, but the lesson doesn't need that setting to apply. This wasn't about ideology or politics. It was about civic reflex, protecting the people beside you, even when it's dangerous. And it worked. In just a few weeks, about 7,200 Danish Jews and nearly 700 of their relatives escaped to safety. Roughly 464 were caught and deported, but most of them survived too, thanks to sustained Danish pressure on the Germans. In the end, more than 99% of Denmark's Jewish population survived the Holocaust because ordinary people, rooted in community and conscience and clarity, refused to be passive. And it matters right now. Here in October 2025, there's a renewed talk of using the Insurrection Act, of deploying troops on U.S. soil. Executive threats, legal loopholes, Congress hesitating at the edge of its power. And many Americans are looking around and asking, what happens if the system doesn't hold? And the truth is, our resilience won't come from a hero. It'll come from networks, from neighbors, from people with steady hands and clear values, and those people doing what's right before the orders come down. That's what Denmark teaches us, that moral courage isn't about making a scene. It's about making a way to protect, a way to resist, a way to still be us. And if stories like this stir something in you, if they remind you of the kind of country we still want to be, I'd love to talk with you about that. On Thursday, November 6th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm hosting a 30-minute Zoom session with up to 8 people. We'll talk about the wisdom we can still carry forward even now. It's gifted freely, though you're welcome to offer something in return if you want. You can sign up at the link on the screen, or up or down, wherever it is. And as of this recording, 7 spots still remain. So we're not living in 1943, but we are living through a time when power is testing the edges of law, when words like emergency and exception get tossed around more easily than they should, and when neighbors have to decide who is included when I say us. So I'll leave you with this. If the day comes when the rules fail, when the guardrails crack, who will you stand beside? And what will you do with your hands when it's your turn to decide? I share a lot of work each week on TikTok, YouTube, Patreon, Substack, and on my website, and none of it is behind a paywall. And that's intentional, because if someone needs a perspective or a story or a reminder of what matters, they should be able to find it, whether or not they can pay. But the truth is, this takes real time and energy and care, and there are real costs to creating it, and to editing it, and to hosting it. Just generally to keeping it going. And for personal reasons, in the next 6 to 12 months, it's going to get harder to sustain all of this unless we build a stronger foundation of support. So if this work means something to you, and you're in a position to help, I hope you'll consider it. You can support it on Patreon or Substack or directly through my website if that's easier. Every bit helps, really. If we don't reach that goal, I'll need to slow down. And with the way things are heading, the fear, the noise, the surveillance, the cruelty, I think it matters more than ever that this work continue. To be able to name what's happening, to remember what's possible, or to offer a buoy when things feel heavy. That's why I'm asking now, so this can keep going and keep reaching the people who might need it most. Thanks.